Chicago, Miami, Atlanta, not yet. We can have 150 restaurants here at home. And then we have the benefit of density. So my marginal cost of distribution, training, store opening, marketing, brand awareness, everything is infinitely lower by doing so. Look at the footprint of In-N-Out.
What's your most popular meal?
Chicken Caesar. It's one of the lowest price points, which is part of the reason, but we do half of our business in the build your own salad.
How are your customers finding you? I know in these food deserts like England, are people really just Googling salad near me?
We just open the doors. So unlike what we did at Popeyes and Burger King all over the world, we open the doors, we don't do a grand opening. We don't tell anybody. We turn on the Uber, DoorDash, Grubhub tablets. We turn on our sign at night. And the first day we'll do $1,000. The second day we'll do $1,500. The third day we'll do $1,800. The fourth day we'll do $2,000. By the third week we're at our target. So fully word of mouth. We spend less than 1/2 of marketing today.
So you mentioned the 10 locations currently. Yep. And how many in the pipeline? Are they all company owned?
All company owned. I spent a decade in the franchising business, so that's something that we will do. But the pipeline is about 4 or 5 restaurants for the back half of this year and early next year.
And then where's the distribution center?
All here in LA. We've got a facility in Van Nuys.
Just have a market strategy point of view. I have some questions. So when you are opening a location, location is the key at the end of the day, and then a lot of restaurants and fast food probably will study and spend a lot of money to study the real estate, and the neighbors to decide the site, right? And that's really important. When you're looking at a certain point of location where there's less competition, underserved markets, it's either the market is not there, that's why the other players not opening their site, or maybe it's really the area where you can actually capture your own customer. So just want to understand what will be your key value proposition when you're opening up and location and competing with others. That probably will lead to expansion question. Once you expand, when you say there's enough density in California and LA, but if you go outside of those main street area, you will immediately meet with other competitors in salad product side. So just want to make sure what is your target customer segment and what is your key value proposition to maintain going forward?
So my core customer is a 36-year-old African American female. My most frequent customer at almost all my stores. In terms of the big companies and what they spend to find real estate, I did that for almost a decade, so I know exactly what they're looking at. And I respect Sweetgreen a ton, but if you look at their store footprint here in California, in LA, it's along the beach, to Santa Monica, across Hollywood, north of the 10. It's like the shape of Croatia, if you want to think about it that way. It's a boomerang, right? It looks like that. And what we're finding is that all of our best locations, we compete with them head-to-head. We compete with them in Koreatown, they've since closed. We're head-to-head in Torrance, we're head-to-head in Long Beach, we're Cobb as well. But our best locations are in, Inglewood just opened. I'm on Slauson, which is a dangerous street here in LA, but it's one of our best stores. We're in Gardena, which is a town of 20,000 people. And we're doing well above our hurdle rate in terms of what we want to deliver. So I think the best data source that we have is our own numbers, where there's 2 stereotypes out there. One, that fast food customers don't want to eat healthy. It's not true. And a lot of people think that fast food customers don't have the income to eat healthy. The Big Mac combo is $12. I can sell for less than that. So we've dispelled these myths. We use our own data to figure out where we want to go next. And with each new store, we learn, we get smarter, we get better, and we open successful stores. And that's why we're profitable, today as it is.
Have any of your stores been open for multiple years?
Yes. We have some stores almost 10 years. I didn't start the business. I invested in the business 3 years ago when I left Popeyes. But of the last 7 stores that we've opened, every single one of them is above, best-in-class returns for the restaurant industry. So deploy your capital, make it back in 2 years. I think there are some venture people here in this room that you would kill for pretty consistent 50% year-over-year returns. And that's what we've done every single time for the last 7 years.
have you noticed revenue trends over the longest stores that have been open the longest?
Look,
Consistent or?
yeah, it's pretty consistent. I would say even like I would look at the first half and into now this year, 2024. Most of the restaurant industry is struggling. Our comps here today are up 12. So that would put us in best in class, and California has been suffering as well. So, I think for a value proposition of 20 to 30% or more less than Sweet Green, equivalent with the Big Mac, but for a very healthy, hearty product, it works.
Quick question for me. Do you have any plans to kind of expand your marketing? I know that there was a question about how you're getting word out. Are you looking at social? Are you looking at traditional? What are your insights there?
That's where we spend our money. The less than 1/2 of 1% of sales that we do spend, we spend there. I think that the issue that I found is many other, of the folks selling salads. I think a lot of it is fake. It's preachy. It's eat this and it's good for you, telling people what to do. We're more organic. Our customers come to us. So we only want to work with people that are actual fans, that have a customer history. I can see them in our loyalty program. So when we find those right people, we lean into that a little bit. Mostly in-kind stuff in terms of what we do. We just haven't found the right match yet. But it works. I mean, we were on TikTok, 4 weeks ago, there was a trend of chicken Caesar wraps. Anybody see this? Well, 2 of our stores were up 50% for like 2 weeks. It was free.
I feel like I've seen the Gigiata, if anybody's eaten there, however you say it, they have the viral.
But look, I believe in the power of it. I've seen it here and everywhere around the world. I just haven't found the right match yet.
From a VC investment standpoint, I think a lot of VCs, family office, in a house. What would be your proposition? Like, are you trying to raise capital right now from?
Yeah, so we're raising $5 million. On a safe note, we're about 25% of the way done. We started about a month ago.
So
high net worth individuals.
Like the scalability, like what is your roadmap for the next 3 years?
So we'll use this capital, this next round, will help us double in size to about 20 locations, at which point we'll have 30+ million in revenue. And then we'll do one more round. I think that's the next stage gate, and work with your mid-sized growth equity partners, and then continue to accelerate to 15, 20 units a year.
So that roadmap is really just a company-owned restaurant.
For now. Yeah, I think once our supply chain is robust enough to be able to franchise, we will. People ask the question all the time, how many stores do you need to have before you franchise? I don't think that that's the right way to think about it. I think it's more about, is your supply chain ready? Are your training systems ready? Is your tech ready? Can your marketing team absorb a bunch of different locales all at the same time? And for us, we've got all the training programs, we've got everything. My HR director's from in and out. I'm hiring people from Starbucks, so we're ready. The supply chain part is something that we want to be very, very careful with, because why I think most people have failed at this in the past is that folks want to outsource everything. You lose quality. And you'd be surprised. You open a restaurant in a town like Inglewood, where there isn't a salad restaurant. People know a lot about healthy eating, and they expect a lot. They'll ask you, is your tahini vegan? What seed oils do you have in your dressings? What's in the marinade of your chicken? Right? So you have to be able to serve the people in this room without the people in this room being your target. When you have that quality at a fair price, it can work.
Anybody want to meet with Daniel after this?
I have a friend live on TikTok right now. You guys might know him. His name's Kevin Hart. He's also promoting some health products, things like that. Feel free to check it out after the event today. He might be interested in hearing more about it. Happy to make a connection and see if there's anything that you guys can talk about. But I think that would be like a great base, just knowing how passionate he is about the exact space that you're in.
And we love LA-based people, because those people can be real fans. So appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. You ready? Want me to make an introduction? When you're ready, so let me know.
Okay, hi everyone. Earthquakes are the deadliest, or one of the deadliest nature disasters, killing thousands of people each and every year. However, the early warning systems are providing few seconds of early warning, which is unfortunately not enough. Imagine having the ability to get 8 hours predictions, telling you the time, the place, and the magnitude of any seismic event. I am Doron Angelovich. I am the founder and the CEO of Ionoterra, and this is what we do. We were able to develop this amazing technology due to a long research, to do some breakthroughs in physics, mathematics, and machine learning. We are deploying a system consisting of 5 antennas, and recently we have managed to deploy our first ever system to cover the greater LA region, hand in hand with UCLA. To date, thank you. To date, we raised $5 million, and we are now looking to raise additional 3 in order to finalize the LA project, in order to deploy another system, and for sales and us.
That's it. No, go to Q&A.
Where was your IP developed? Was it developed at UCLA or was it developed outside, and who owns the IP?
All of the IP is owned by our company. We are patented both in the US and in Japan, and we did it inside the company. No academic institution took a part of the IP.
And what are the primary claims under your patents that you find protectable that make it so nobody else could do this?
We file patents that are talking about the way we do it. We are harvesting information, data from the ionosphere. This is not something that we have discovered. It is known to science for almost 3 decades, but we are the only one that can take this data and transform it into a prediction of time, place, and magnitude. These are the basis of our claims.
And how do you plan to monetize this? What's kind of your business model?
Our business model is SaaS, software as a service, or DAS, data as a service. We are targeting 2 kinds of clients. One is, of course, countries. There are 120 countries under constant threat of earthquakes, and organizations that need to work on very solid, stable grounds, nanotechnology, semiconductors, and so on. In terms of countries, we are talking about systems. Altogether 400 systems to get a global coverage. One system can cover up to 35,000 square miles. It is involving only 5 antennas, so maintenance is very low, OPEX is very low. We plan to sell each and every system based on a yearly subscription. Our target price at the moment is $15 million per system per year. We don't sell the system itself, we are only selling the information, the data, and the warnings and the predictions.
And are there any competitors that use similar technology?
No competitors using the same technology. There are the early warning systems like Shakealak in California that are providing few seconds, not because they're not good, but because the technology principle is only based on detecting the P and S waves running through the lithosphere, through the crust, and it is running at 8 kilometers per second, so even if your sensor is 100 kilometers away, it will give you only 12 seconds to run for shelter or break.
And so what is it that you're detecting?
We are detecting phenomena in the ionosphere created by acoustic waves that are of seismic origins. There are few kinds of acoustic waves that are running through the crust upwards. Some of them are seismic induced. We know how to distinguish those waves from any other kind of waves. The same phenomena might be evolving because of solar storm, magnetic storm, hurricanes, or even man-made explosions. We know how to 100% distinguish them. We have 0 false alarms. It's a huge statement, but it took us quite a long to get there. We have 0 false alarms. We are detecting not only the wave itself, but the phenomena and the footprint it leaves in the ionosphere at heights of around 200 miles above ground. And once we detect those signs that are starting to appear between 36 and 24 hours before any seismic event on the planet, once we start detecting the signs, we will launch the predictions. Between the signs, we can number multiple reflective layers that the ionosphere is developing as we get closer to the event. In the following stage, we will see that the ionosphere is getting very agitated with a lot of particles that are moving in a random way, allegedly, kind of like boiling soup. And in the next phase, we will get the specific effect we are looking to get from sending and receiving radio transmissions between our antennas. We deploy 5 antennas in the wide surroundings of a place that we want to protect. For instance, the system that we have just deployed now is covering the greater Los Angeles area. We have one system up north next to Fresno, one antenna next to Arizona, one antenna next to Hamul, closer to the shore. And those antennas are monitoring the ionosphere 24/7. Once conditions are ripe, we will start providing the predictions at first to UCLA that will publicize it further.
And you'll be able to say we predict a 6.0 in this particular area?
Yeah, we will provide predictions that are combined of the 4 most crucial parameters: the time, the location, the magnitude, and the depth. The last parameter, depth, is very important for who is dealing with resilience of buildings, so they will know how to understand which bridge will resist, which tunnel will resist, so authorities can decide where they want to block traffic or what place of population they want to evacuate. We are very accurate in location, so you don't have to evacuate all of LA, you can only evacuate a part of it. Our accuracy rate is between 4 and 6 kilometers in radius from the place of the epicenter.
I'd like to dig into 2 things a little bit more. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, or maybe members of your team, that makes you uniquely positioned to be able to execute on this?
Yeah, I personally am an entrepreneur. In the past, I used to work in the medical field. I owned chains of medical centers. This is how I got to earthquakes. I experienced myself a couple of earthquakes in Europe. This is how I got interested in this field. I was fortunate enough to leave this and sell my former business and start dealing with this. I gather next to me a group of scientists that are outstanding from the standpoint of looking differently at the problem. They are not looking into the ground like everybody else. We are basically looking to the ionosphere in order to see what is going to happen on ground. They are multidisciplinary scientists. Some of them are from the former USSR, some of them are from Israel. They are coming from backgrounds of physics, ionospheric physics, mathematics, and machine learning.
You mentioned that you're selling to governments. I can imagine it's a long sales cycle and lots of regulatory hoops to jump through. Can you talk a little bit about how those conversations unfold, and do you have any interest currently?
At first, we started talking to governments and trying to convince them that we are able to do what we think we do. We kept on hitting the wall of that's good to be true, so we changed the strategy. And in order to continue and try to convince them, we went for a strategy that we will have a system on ground already working, functioning, with a prestigious partner like UCLA that will publicize what we are doing. So we will have a constant showroom able to demonstrate that what we are doing is actual and real. You're absolutely correct. The sales cycle to B2G is quite long. It can be between 12 and 18 months, maybe more. This is why we are thinking of also approaching B2B2G. That means one of maybe the Magnificent Seven companies that are already working with our target countries that will be able to facilitate it way faster than we can.
So you mentioned that the too good to be true, right? You mentioned earlier that a lot of technology, the companies using like detect the earthquake a few seconds before it happens. That's usually too late, right? And now you're claiming that your technology solution will detect 8 hours before it will happen. You mentioned that you now trying to change the strategy to pitch the government and try to educate. How can you claim that 8 hours advance notice that your system will detect? If that's really true, I would feel that the countries in the US, like the West Coast and some of the islands that hit by big earthquakes, Asian country. I was born and raised in Japan, right? And you said you have a patent in Japan. Why aren't those governments jumping on this wagon of your technology? And what makes it really hard for you to really convince if you have that technology? Like you can save thousands, millions of lives.
That's a very good question, and this is exactly what we are encountering. The evolution of the sales cycle, or the first time we are talking to governmental representatives, they are asking us to talk to geologists or geophysicists. Now, geophysicists and geologists don't understand our technology because they are very focused on the ground. We are working on the ionosphere. That's 200 miles high. It's a whole different set of rules. It's a whole different set of science. It is something else. So when they meet our technology, because they cannot judge it or understand it, they cannot confirm or infirm or do something. So usually they kill it. This is why we changed the strategy and decided to have a constant showroom demonstrating our abilities in real time. Each and every day on the planet, there are around 55 earthquakes. Each and every day, or once every 3 days in California, there is a small earthquake. So we will have the ability to demonstrate in real time by using UCLA as a validator. Hey guys, in 8 hours we will have a small earthquake in, I don't know, Bakersfield. And after 8 hours, USGS will also provide this information, and we will demonstrate it in real time. It will be a kind of a showroom.
Okay, so you don't have this showroom now. Like, you're not able to currently predict in, some area in Los Angeles tomorrow there's going to be an earthquake. You just are planning on setting this up, but you're not set up.
No, we already finalized the deployment of the system. Back in 2019, we finalized our final proof of concept in which we predicted 86 earthquakes with over 92.4 percent of accuracy. It was performed in the Aegean Sea in the region of Turkey and Greece. We already did this proof of concept. Then it was manually. Today, the system is fully computerized. And this is what we are doing now. We are now in the phase of starting the activity. We have final issues to solve with FCC regulatory regulations issue, and then we are off to go. We start working.
Well, I mean, I could envision this thing sort of selling itself, but then you run into some problems, right? Let's say you set it up, and you predict there's going to be a 7.0 earthquake, and what do you do with that information, right? Because if you turn out to be you say this is going to happen, you create a pandemonium, and people start fleeing, and then you turn out to be wrong. There could be a lot of liability for you on that. Or you could end up being a genius, and everybody says, wow, why doesn't our country have this system?
You're perfectly right. First of all, I hope there will not be a 7.0 in California or wherever on the planet. We have 0 false positive, 0 false negative. The idea of who should we share the information with is very, very sensitive. We will not want to create any kind of hysteria, people running away. We will start working with UCLA. The first time we will launch the predictions, hopefully in the next month. It will be provided to UCLA. UCLA, in its turn, will sit with us and decide who they want to give the information further. As an idea or as a motto of the company, we will never hide life-saving information, regardless of we have clients or we don't have clients. If we have life-saving information, we will provide it for free, no matter what.
Yay! Lifesaver.
Well, Ben, you're up next. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Okay, so from detecting earth-shaking items to the thing that is shaking the earth to its core, video games. I'm Ben Qualo, founder CEO of Midwest Games, trying to change where games come from by better supporting developers in underserved regions around the world, and also trying to make the industry more sustainable. At the current time period in the US, the largest market in the world for video games, 62% is in California, Washington, and Texas, and is operating in places that are not sustainable for long-term development within this industry. Yet, post-COVID, a lot of these developers that are creating these experiences have moved elsewhere, have moved back to where they're from, have moved to lower-cost regions, And we are not supporting those folks. We are not supporting them from a financial standpoint, via investment, and we are not supporting them in their go-to-market strategies. And so we're based in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And trying to change this industry by showing that talent can come from anywhere, but opportunity has not.
All right, time to.
For those that aren't really experts in the video game space, can you talk about the TAM a little bit and how large it is compared to something that we may be a little bit more familiar with?
Yes. So the video game industry is 7 times larger than the films industry. It's larger than music, films, and TV combined times 2. It's a $340 billion industry that will be $580 billion by 2028. It is the centerpiece of culture and entertainment.
Did you say you're based in Wisconsin?
Yes, in Green Bay, Wisconsin, right across from Lambeau Field.
As a Chicagoan, I won't hold it against you. But in any case, I work a lot in gaming, Twitch, different platforms all over, you name it, the creator side. Can you talk to me a little bit more about, is this a game? Are you helping developers? Are you partnering with creators to promote? Can you unpack the business a bit more?
Yeah, so we're a publisher. So if you know a book publisher, book publishers find authors, bring them to market. We find developers and help them come to market via financing, marketing, support services, and then production support, localization, QA, release management, biz dev. We've got 3 partnerships with Amazon already. So we do all of those services around, which gives a game a chance. So if you look at Steam, the top PC platform in the world, 98% of games are self-published, yet they generate only 25% total revenue. So that 2%, those published games, generate the vast majority of revenue on the platform. And so it's key to have that, but not everyone has it. There's only about 200 full-service publishers worldwide, so we're one of very few, and part of that is it's very specialized. In fact, you have to have all of these avenues of knowledge and combine it all together and manage your portfolio, almost in a way that venture thinks about portfolio management. But we're very white glove treatment of everything and making sure that it's giving the best on map into the market.
Got it. So if I'm a CD Projekt Red or From Software, something like that, we would partner together and then you would help scale the games, within our house, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I'm doing it in the indie space. And so, the large AAA space has tons of support. They're 1% of the market, yet they get 99% of the support. And so I'm operating in a space where you can spend, our average spend per game is $293,000 to get to market. That game still has as much potential in market as a lot of the games that you spend $10, $20, $30 million on. And so, because we're going to the same platform at the end of the day, if you know how that platform operates, and you hit, the zeitgeist moment, you have somebody on TikTok talk about your game in a way, we see indie games take off in huge ways all the time. So we're trying to minimize that cost on the upfront, lower the ceiling, while still maximizing that opportunity in the back end.
Where do you see the industry going over the next few years? Do you see it being still dominated by Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, or do you see other players?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of players emerging. So before I was doing this, I was at Netflix and the long career in games, 2K, Blizzard. So I was the first hire in the marketing operations team for film at Netflix, and then I led the launch of Netflix games. And so Netflix, as we know, is doing games now. They're investing in cloud.